for the first edition of the Financial Economic Summit that actually generated a global conversation on innovative approaches to finance and economics. You've gathered here today, and it is my humble pleasure to welcome you again to the third edition of the Financial Economic Summit under the theme, Entrepreneurship, a Functional Element for Economic Growth and Stability of Developing Economies. Now, as always, we have put together some of the brightest scholars, some of the brightest minds in finance, economics, and entrepreneurship to discuss and chart a path for the growth of this country called Ghana and, of course, Africa. Our lineup of speakers include renowned experts who will be sharing their knowledge, their experience, their perspectives on various topics that today you will enjoy. And I believe that you also have the time and the opportunity to share whatever you have, because we have two sessions. We have the ones for our speakers, and we have the engaging one that will give you another opportunity for you also to ask questions, participate, engage in this summit. So thank you once again for honoring our invitation. This is the third edition of the Financial Economic Summit. My name is Kwame Adinkra. And you know, I've seen some powerful men of God here, and I don't know whether it's in the Bible or it is not in the Bible, because we say behind every successful man is a woman. But I don't know whether that woman is a colleague, is a sister, is a girlfriend, is a wife. I don't know whether the Bible has been able to expatiate that into details. I believe, man of God, I will thank you. Is it only your wife? Man of God, is it only your wife? Only your wife? Only your wife? Why can't we see that in the Bible? So thank you so much. But we are also live on Joy News and again on Facebook, Financial Economic Institute Africa. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for honoring our invitation. We thank you for participation in the third edition of the Financial Economic Seminar 2024. The reason I said behind every man is a successful man is a woman is the fact that I'm not doing this alone. I have the sensational, beautiful, elegance. Put your hands together for Noan Fallon.
Thank you so much, Kwame. That was quite an introduction. Good morning, everyone. Last year I was here for this same seminar, so it's such a joy to be back this year and to see the organizers commit to the agenda. So grateful for all of you for making the time. Thank you so much, everyone. We don't want to waste much time, so we are quickly going to go straight to the keynote speaker for today's event. But before that, let me remind you that yesterday the Affirmative Action Bill was passed in Parliament. In honor of that, can I hear an aye? Thank you so much. As introduced by my colleague Kwame, my name is Noan Fallon, and I am just going to introduce our keynote speaker, who I see resplendent right in front of me. So ladies and gentlemen, I have this distinct honor of introducing our very honorable Madame Abna Osei Asari. She's a remarkable leader. She has dedicated her career to serving Ghana and to shaping Ghana's economic landscape. You will find that she is currently Minister of State at the Finance Ministry, and she brings a wealth of experience and expertise to today's gathering. She is the right mind to speak to this event. Her tenure as Deputy Minister of Finance was marked by some strategic policy initiatives and fiscal reforms, and commitment to sustainable development. She is also a member of Parliament for Etiwa East constituency, which is in the Eastern region. Honorable Osei Asari has tirelessly advocated for financial inclusion, transparency, and equitable growth. Please join me, everyone, in welcoming Madame Abna Osei Asari. Please let me hear you give her a clap.
Good morning. I saw some students from St. Mary's, I'm told. She didn't add that I also went to Wesley Girls. You know, we compete amongst each other. So I'm happy to see senior high school students here. And I hope you take something with you back to school. Invited guests, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is a great honor to be here this morning, and I bring you warm regards from my minister, Dr. Mohammed Amin Adam, who sincerely apologizes for his inability to attend. He regrets missing this conference, especially because its theme is not only critical, but also profoundly resonates with his personal and professional mission. I extend a heartfelt congratulations to the Financial Economics Institute Africa for persistently keeping the spotlight on economic transformation over the years. Your decision to focus on entrepreneurship this year is both timely and inspired. As policymakers, practitioners, and economic observers, we are continually attracted by the powerful connection between entrepreneurial ecosystems and developed economies. Consider the societies of the Nordic countries, North America, and the Asian tigers. These regions, known for their high and sustained growth rates, share a distinct feature: a deeply rooted, accepted, and promoted entrepreneurial spirit. For those of us in developing economies, the pressing question remains: how can we harness and nurture an entrepreneurial spirit that fuels growth and stability, allowing us to catch up with the advanced economies? This context makes the theme of this seminar exceptionally forward-looking and vital. Gathering like-minded individuals and a critical mass of representative groups to deliberate on these issues can only be beneficial for our common future. Distinguished participants, entrepreneurship is the spark that ignites innovation, driving progress and prosperity through the daring vision of risk-takers and problem solvers. This dynamic activity fuels economic growth, enhancing productivity, efficiency, and living standards across board. Ghana, a country rich in resources and cultural heritage, has always been a fertile ground for entrepreneurship. The ventureship spirit of the Ghanaian is vibrant and resilient. Historically, Ghanaians have demonstrated an indomitable will to innovate and create, driven by a strong entrepreneurial spirit. This spirit is exemplified by pioneering women traders and notable figures such as John Mensah Saba, the Okanses of Ada, the Vanderpoel brothers, and Jacob Wilson Say, arguably the first recorded multimillionaire in our country. During the colonial era, despite the lack of direct policies to promote indigenous business, our people showcased remarkable entrepreneurship, significantly contributing to the expansion of intercontinental trade. These efforts laid the necessary groundwork for us to build upon in our post-independence era. However, by the end of the 20th century, we had become largely less adventurous importers, perhaps due to our policy choices that inadvertently weakened the power of the Ghanaian entrepreneur. At independence, for instance, we opted for policies that experimented with a more interventionist approach by the state, leaving our entrepreneurs behind. Later, attempts to correct this included the Ghanaian Business Promotion Act, Act 334 of 1970, which reserved specific fields of economic activity for Ghanaians. We also introduced the Small Business Loan Scheme to provide funding for Ghanaians and promote enterprise growth. During this period, several local businessmen like Adai Cutlass, Apino Soap, and Tata Breweries emerged. However, progress on these pro-local business initiatives was halted between as we went through military and civilian rule. Consequently, our local industrial hubs largely did not fulfill their potential, leading to disindustrialization. The fate of previous indigenous businessmen deterred risk-taking tendencies in others. But in the Fourth Republic, we've had the opportunity to have a renewed focus, and this has created the space to deliberately rebuild our industrial base through the entrepreneurial spirit of Ghanaians. It is within this context that the government of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo has focused energies on policies and interventions designed to empower the youth to take full advantage of the nation's abundant resources. This government has been intentional about the need to create an enabling environment for entrepreneurship to flourish. Our policy orientation has been to 1, ease the cost of doing business and placing Ghanaian companies at the forefront of our economic build-back strategy. 2, improve skills training and education. 3, effectively tackle long-standing structural challenges with revenue mobilization and infrastructural development. Since 2017, this government has made a concerted effort to reignite and support the entrepreneurial spirit, recognizing that the average age of a Ghanaian is just 21 years old. The government has focused on policies and interventions designed to empower the youth to take full advantage of the nation's abundant resources. It is this ambitious agenda that culminated in the launch of initiatives such as the Development Bank Ghana, GERCEL, and Ghana Commodities Exchange, among others. There's also been significant policy interventions, notable of which have been 1, the free SHS, the free senior high school policy. This landmark policy has ensured that every Ghanaian child has access to secondary education, laying a solid foundation for a knowledgeable and skilled future workforce. Planting for food and jobs. This program has revitalized agriculture, increased food production, and created numerous job opportunities, particularly for the youth. 1 district, 1 factory. It's aimed at incentivizing the private sector to expand and diversify manufacturing across the country. The Ghana Cares Program. This comprehensive program has been designed to mitigate the impact of COVID-19 and accelerate Ghana's economic transformation. Skills training and digitization. The government has invested in skills training and digital infrastructure, including the mobile interoperability and the national identification system, together with the address system. These initiatives have enhanced financial inclusion and streamlined business operations. There's also been support of fintechs, recognizing the youthful nature of our country. These sectors foster innovation and expansion. And lately, there was an SME Growth and Opportunity Program launched last week by His Excellency. And this is to give technical and financial support to high growth potential SMEs to accelerate growth and create jobs. With the help of the private sector and government, a committed amount of 8.2 billion has been nursed for this initiative. We have IFC giving us $400 million and African Development Bank also committing to support this program with $45 million. At the launch of the SME Growth and Opportunities Program, I mentioned that our businesses are not just the heart of our economy, they are our backbone. Moreover, all available analysis on the structure of our economy suggests that to realize our growth and development ambitions, we must be intentional about supporting our SMEs, particularly in accessing financial resources that they need to thrive. Ladies and gentlemen, just last week, as part of our mid-year budget review statement, we highlighted how we are rebuilding trust, regaining policy credibility, restoring confidence in the economy, and raising hope in our businesses. The stark reality is that Ghana's growth model cannot be hinged too much on crowding in the foreign direct investment space and also promoting raw material exports. We have learnt at our own expense that this can be too volatile and exposes us to dire crises driven by external factors. Indeed, our focus on entrepreneurship and SME development is not an isolated one. It reflects a regional trend towards economic stabilization and growth. Just 2 weeks before the launch of our SME growth, Nigeria launched theirs. And as part of their SME launch, they put in some monies, intentional amounts, to make sure they use that to stabilize their economy. As I speak, Sierra Leone is also planning to roll out a similar initiative later this year. This regional momentum underscores the importance of nurturing our homegrown enterprises as a cornerstone for building a prosperous, dynamic, and competitive economy. As we look to the future, it is imperative to understand that government interventions are resources meant to be tapped by individual entrepreneurs. While these policies and programs lay the groundwork, it is the efforts of individual entrepreneurs that truly drive economic growth and stability. Entrepreneurs are the catalyst of wealth creation, turning opportunities into thriving enterprises that generate jobs and foster economic growth. So in this context, the entrepreneurial efforts are not just personal pursuits. They are the vehicles for national prosperity. The innovative ideas, resilience, and hard work of entrepreneurs are what transforms resources into sustainable economic growth. By embracing the spirit and utilizing the available support, entrepreneurs can lead the charge in developing economies, driving the stability and growth that our nations need. Ghana has faced numerous challenges in recent years, yet we have rallied together, steadfast in our journey towards macroeconomic stability. This commitment is reflected in our recent achievements: robust economic growth, lower inflation, stronger public finances, and a successful completion of our debt exchange program. These milestones mark significant progress on our path to a more stable and prosperous future. Distinguished participants, the entrepreneurial spirit of Ghanaians is alive and well. With the right policies and support, it will continue to drive economic growth and stability in our developing economy. I encourage all stakeholders, government, private sector, and civil society to work together to nurture and support this vital element of our national progress. Thank you very much, and God bless us all.
Thank you so much, Honorable Abna Osei Asari. She mentioned that entrepreneurs are a catalyst to wealth creation. As an entrepreneur myself, I'd like to encourage you to heed to her words, not only by listening, but by being active and by supporting local entrepreneurs. How can you support local entrepreneurs? By buying their products. Put money where your mouths are and encourage local entrepreneurs. It's only when you give them money for their hard work that they are encouraged. Thank you for that. Now, when a brilliant woman has been speaking, you need time to digest what she said. You want to break down. Some of you look like you haven't had breakfast this morning. You need time to go over what she has said and break it down and understand it. And so we are introducing a short musical interlude for you to break down everything that Madame Abna has said. and be able to understand it better. So I'll call on Shebre Musical and Dance Group to delight us for a moment. Shebre Dance Group, please come forward.
Yeah. A round of applause. A big round of applause. We thank you. Thank you. Thank you so much. Shabre music. Let them go. Yeah, 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 yeah. Thank you. Thank you. Make it louder.
Thank you so much, Shebre.
If we don't stop them, I wouldn't know what will come next.
Kwame, I was hoping you would join them to dance.
Because when the calico was off, I didn't know what was coming off again. So we need to stop them. There are pastors here, But fellow, I've never seen somebody who uses, say, Ferrari or limousine, and he has misplaced the car key.
Too precious.
Now I have a car key in my hand. It's Hyundai, so maybe the person can buy another one. So if you're using the Hyundai, you can just pick it up here. I don't know whether the car is so important to you, but it's a Hyundai. Now, we are live on Joy News. We are also live on GTV and several TV stations, and of course radio stations. And of course, we would like to say a big thank you to Guide Radio 91.5, the Newsday, the New Crusading Guide, the Ghanaian Observer, the Delhi Dispatch, Ghana Gas, GCB Bank, Inquirer, Delhi Guide, and DGN. Fallon, what do we have next?
Thank you for that. We're going to move on to our first speaker, and today looks like the women are taking the lead. I am going to introduce Professor Atinuke Olusola Adebanji. If you're here with us, you need to applaud me for getting that name right. Professor Atinuke is a professor of statistics at the Department of Statistics and Actuarial Science, Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. When I was in Legon, one of the courses I used to run away from was statistics. So you can imagine this woman has a PhD in statistics. Please. With over 20 years experience and her research in theoretical and applied statistics, epidemiology, and biostatistics. She is a member of the Representative Council and Nomination Committee of the International Biometric Society, an elected member of the International Statistical Institute. She was just whispering to me that if she was my statistics teacher, I wouldn't be running away. So, a very excellent woman, ladies and gentlemen. Please give her another round of applause.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for the introduction. I appreciate it. Thank you. I don't know the chair, but Madam, I believe you're the chair, so I'm addressing the chair. Can I stand on existing protocol? Thank you so much. So I'm not an entrepreneur. I'm not a business person. So I'm going to speak from the point of view of a statistician. So I did a study, and I want to present the evidence from my study to the audience today, especially concerning this issue of entrepreneurship. My question is it really working for us as a nation? I'm sorry, Sticker, this Sunday, I'm not on your side this morning. So the question we seek to answer is, how do our local entrepreneurs or startups, how do they source for data, and how do they use the available data for their business decisions? So I'm going to focus on what I call, it's not in sync with me. I'm not controlling from here. Yeah. So how do we have a data disconnect? What is a data disconnect? That means that you're not using the available data, or you're using obsolete information in making decisions in your business. So my focus is going to be, are entrepreneurs, are they experiencing a data disconnect, or they are not experiencing a data disconnect in our local space? So we did a study I'm sorry, the person has to be in sync with me. So we did a study, and this study was to answer these specific questions. So, but the study was a small-scale study, which is an exploratory study, which means that you just want to find out the views or the experiences of entrepreneurs in our space in Ghana. So the study showed, sorry please, this person has to be in sync with me. I'm not controlling from here, but I'm faster than that slide. So the study showed the gender distribution, and we had 39% of them as females and 61% of our respondents as males. And when you look at the age distribution, you find out that about 37% of our respondents were actually very young adults. They were between the ages of 18 and 24. So the bulk of them, which is about 75% of them, were actually under 55. So we have young people who are hardworking in Ghana, who are determined to make something of their lives. But do we have the environment that helps them to achieve what they desire to achieve, or something that brings reward for their efforts? So when you look at the qualifications of the respondents, the bulk of them were either high school holders, which was 35%, and we also had first-degree holders, which was 34%. So the others were spread between no education and postgraduate of vocational training. So when you look at where they operate, are they operating in the virtual space or in the physical space? 69% of them were in the physical space, and you had some of them in the virtual space. And we had about 16% of them which were hybrid. That means they operated in the physical as well and in the virtual space. So when we also looked at the type of businesses, this is basic knowledge, I'm sure you all know, some of you know about this. What we came up with is that most of our business entities that responded to our survey were sole ownership businesses. We actually had 85% of them as sole ownership. So most of them do not engage in partnerships or limited liability entities. And we looked at where do they operate. Most of our respondents, the businesses that responded to our survey, 62% of them are actually traders in goods and services. 18% of them were service providers, and then you had only 16% of them that were in farm and farm produce, that were engaged in food and farm produce. We are not in sync, so it's making me a bit off-tune when I look at the screen. Can somebody help so that that person is in sync with me? Can I just go on and then they'll catch up with me? But it's a bit tough when you're saying something else and something else is showing. So the interesting question came when we started asking them, when we asked them, how do you source for funds for your businesses? And this was very interesting because you have about 92% of them source for their business startups from either their personal savings or families. Actually, we have only 56% of them saying it was their personal savings. So that tells us that as parents, your job is not yet done if your child graduates from school. You also have to find money to set them up, more or less. If you look at this, only 1% of them said they got some form of loan. And that form of loan, we don't know if it was their personal collateral or a family member or a friend's collateral that they used to secure that loan. So what it means is that most of them are looking to their personal savings and their families. And how many young people in their 20s really have personal savings? So it tells us that it's mainly the families and friends that have to pull resources to set them up. So when you look at the estimated value of these businesses, we had most of them being valued at less than 100,000. So if you look at businesses at less than 100,000, we also ask them, do you employ people or it's just you're the only one working? Very few of them can employ anybody. So we're basically looking at self-employment. So I don't know if there's a difference between entrepreneurship and self-employment. So somebody's going to help me amongst the gurus here today, because most of them are simply self-employed. Then we further ask them, did you do any feasibility study when you were starting your business? And but 89% of them did not do any feasibility study. Even the Bible says watch and pray. That means even as you're praying, shine your eyes. So that means they were just, I don't know what they were doing, but 89% of them did no feasibility study. And of the 11% that did some form of feasibility study, we further asked them, what kind of study did you do? Some of them said they simply observed. Some learned from their teachers or instructors. Some learned from online research, and others from other business owners. Please move the slide for me. Thank you. And others learn from other business owners. So that means that they don't really do business research before they go into business. So, Pastor, that means they are praying with their eyes closed, isn't it? They should open their eyes and they pray. Yeah. So we further asked them, how many of you have access? Do you have access to relevant market data if you really want to use the data? Then we had 19%, only 19% of them said they had access to business data. So that means that the other percentage of them, 81, do not have any form of access to business data from our survey. And when you looked at the categories of those that had access to business data, we had 13% of them coming from limited liability companies, 38% of them coming from partnerships, and another 17% of them were part of the sole ownerships. So the others did not have any kind of access to business data. Then the next question was, are you aware of any government incentives for your businesses or for businesses or startups in Ghana? So, Madam, you spoke very well about a lot of things government is doing. But I dare to say that they don't even know they're doing all of this much for them. So because only the same 19% people, businesses, said they knew about some government incentives. So the other people had no clue about this much that government was doing to help them. So some of them responded that they know about the GRA tax waivers. Some of them said they know about the reduced company income tax reliefs. And some said they also know about the 5-year tax holiday. But further asked them, have you benefited from any of this? The answer was no. So we then asked specific questions. Now, how do you use data? And the first question we asked them was, is for them, for this kind of group of questions, they are supposed to agree with the statement or disagree with the statement. So the first question was, data is readily available for my business industry market share. What business industry you are into, what is the market share of that industry? Only the same 19% that had access to data responded that they either strongly agreed or agreed to that statement. All the others were either neutral or strongly disagreed with that statement. The second question was, data is readily available for the market share. Now, not the market share of the product that I'm into or the service that I provide. And we see that the percentage is still what? 15% that are in agreement. So we have 85% that don't know if there's any data available for them or clearly disagree that data was available for the product share of the market. Then the next question was about their data literacy. We asked them if they had data literacy or they would know what to do with data about their businesses if they had access to the data. And only 27% said, I know what to do if I have the data. So we have over 73%, even if you give them the data, they don't know what to do with the data. Then the next question was, data helps in better business making for business growth. And of course, 88% of them, almost all of them agree that yes, data is good for making decisions for business growth. But if you give it to a lot of them, they don't even know what they want to do with it. And a lot of them don't have access to data, even if they wanted to use it. And the next question we asked them was, this statement was, I have business data needs that is yet to be met, that is not yet met. So you see that more than half of them agreed that they have unmet data needs for their businesses. A few of them, some of them disagree, but you see that in the disagreement this time around, you only have about 11% disagreeing with that statement. So that means majority of them are saying that I have unmet business data needs to thrive in the business. Then the next question, that data for predicting product performance is readily available. 13% agreed. So that means 87% were in disagreement. So there is evidence here that the data isn't available for them to make proper decisions or to make market surveys, even if they wanted to do that. Then we further asked them, now we're going into the domain of sustainability. We asked them, the total number of similar businesses, similar to yours, that you know that have collapsed in the last 5 years? How many businesses like yours? And you see that only 2% said they have seen no business like theirs collapse. I don't know, maybe they sell wache because people like me must buy wache all the time. But you see that people who have seen about 1 to 5 similar businesses collapse in the last 5 years are 74% of our respondents. So that means 7 out of 10 of them are saying that I have seen at least 1 to 5 similar businesses like mine collapse in the last 5 years. So even if they thrive or they strive to start the businesses, does it survive? Sustainability becomes an issue. And some people actually have seen more than 15 businesses collapse like theirs, similar to theirs, in the last 5 years. Then we then ask them, do you see your business continuing to operate in the next 5 years? And a lot of them, I believe, they are very optimistic people. You say, yes, we believe it will survive in the next 5 years. 29% are saying, I'm not so sure, which is 3 out of 10. And another 6 there are saying, absolutely not. This business cannot survive in the next 5 years. So we asked them, what are your major challenges in your business space as an entrepreneur? The number one thing that most of them were referring to was access to finance and funding. Another group were talking about complicated regulatory framework. That's not my domain. I believe the business experts will speak to that later today. Then the technological advancement, they're having challenges to keep pace with the changes in technology. And access to data also came up again. That was the fourth most important thing that they mentioned. And also lack of proper management skills. They admitted themselves that they probably lacked management skills. So they gave some suggestions that access to funding sources would help them better engage in their businesses. And then they mentioned the dollar rate. I'm on the next slide, please. I'm on the next slide, please. Right, thank you. So they also talked about the dollar rate. The sporadic changes in the dollar rate is crippling them because more than 80% of them are actually in the buying and selling business. Then they talked about requests for training. So I don't know if Madam will take this back. They are asking for general training, large-scale training by government to help them to better avail themselves of government support for businesses that are young businesses and startups. They also said that they needed to have more data available for their market surveys and their business decisions. And I have a note here that says that reduce loan interest, and I'm glad Sam is here too. They want the banks to reduce the loan interest, even if it's just 1% of them that went to the bank to get any kind of loan, because I'm sure they don't have the collateral, so I'm sure the banks will not give it to them. So, what did we find out from this survey? And this is my main thrust of my message. On one hand, we are telling them that there are no more vacancies. Don't seek for a job when you go out, when you finish from school. That's what we've told them technically. There are no jobs, so don't bother coming to look for vacancy. Create your own jobs. And on the other hand, we're shouting at them, we want you to be entrepreneurs. We want you to be entrepreneurs. We're canvassing for this. And Madam rightly said, it's a driver for economic growth. But in our space, if you look at these situations and this study, it shows that we're asking them to run a sprint, but we have shackled their feet at the same time with the weight. Because if the system and the space is not conducive for what you're asking them to do, they cannot thrive. And the ball comes back to the parent again and the families. Even if you put your money into it, are they going to thrive? So I want my boss here to speak to this issue when you come up here. What are you going to do to free the feet of our young ones so that they can run in the entrepreneurship space? And this is my team. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. And then this is my team here. That's Sandra. She's my colleague. We carried out this survey together. And those guys down there are national service persons who are the guys who went to town to get the data for us. Unfortunately, they're all traveling now because they all leave. My national service person, they all go abroaching. How do I pronounce that? Once they finish national service, they're all gone. They all have their passports and visas and they're ready to leave. And this is sad because in the last 8 years, I was just telling Sam, all my national service persons have left. They don't stay in Ghana. So, and I believe that if we make this space more conducive for them, they will stay in Ghana. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for being a wonderful audience. Sometimes this is what the audience does to a speaker, but thank you for not doing that to me. God bless you all.
I believe you can make it louder. Prof is a familiar face and voice at the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. She is the global icon. And another round of applause for our global icon. I still have the key in my hands anyway. I don't think the person needs that car. But I'd like to acknowledge the presence of the Accra Technical University. Are you here? Accra Technical University. Give me a wave. Okay, thank you so much. And Islamic University. Islamic University. And of course, the University of Ghana, Legon. Are you here? I like that. We have the University of Ghana Medical School and the University of Ghana Biomedical and Allied Health Services. We have the Public Health Nursing School and the Accra College of Education. We also have here St. Mary's. I've already acknowledged that. St. Mary's, how you doing? Okay. And then Accra Girls Senior High School, Accra High School, Laboni, and Osu Presec. Now, somebody who traveled all the way from the Garden City, Kumasi, now he is also the general manager for Hello FM and the regional manager for Despite Media, Mr. Samson Kwame Nyameche, also here. Thank you so much for being here to support the man I'm about to introduce. Now, personally, he's my member of parliament. But he's the man, I brought this not because, hello, okay. I brought this not because I'm also going to give a lecture. But I brought it because the man that I'm dealing with is a man of English language. His overstay in the UK has influenced his English language. And he dazzled the Speaker of Parliament not long ago with a word that I might not attempt to pronounce that word. What is it? You see, the Minister of State is struggling. I will not attempt to do that. But he is a very interesting personality. And he is a financial economist and a member of parliament for the first class residential area in Greater Kumasi in Shiaso constituency. He is a board member of Cocoa Board, Ghana Enterprises Agency, and GCB Bank. In Parliament, he is a member of the Parliamentary Select Committee on Finance and Foreign Affairs. He is the former member of the African Parliamentary Union and also a former Deputy Minister of Trade and Industry. He worked with distinction as Chief Executive Officer of the Microfinance and Small Loan Center, MASLOC, under the Office of the President of Ghana, where small and medium-sized businesses were capitalized. He holds a doctorate in actuarial science from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology with options of finance, investments, microeconomics, and mathematics. He holds a Master's of Science degree in Strategic Financial Management from the University of Derby in the United Kingdom and has a certificate in entrepreneurship from MIT in the United States of America. He obtained his first degree in computer science from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology. He is a product of Opukwai School. He is the current Deputy Minister of Finance, Okatache, Honorable Dr. Stephen Amoa.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My minister, in fact, my senior minister, she's my boss, Minister of State Finance, and my own professor, and my PhD supervisor, Professor Adibanji, my own brother, spiritual father, every friend from our constituency. He was actually sent to Accra. God bless you, sir. CAC boss. And then I think if I have to mention, I'll go on and on and on because of time factor. My brother from GCB, representing the MD. High table attendants. Students, friends, brothers, all protocols observed. It is a big pleasure to be here for the third time. Here, second time, but the third time, the edition. The second one, we had it at UPSA. A big pleasure because I think this is going to go far. It is going to go far because anything that has the hands of God in it has a future. And it's for the good of our society and for the good people of Ghana and those on the continent and even on the globe. So I'm always very happy, particularly when this opportunity arises. But my boss said that I should repronounce the word. And I have to oblige. There's something about me. I'm a strong person, but I respect seniority. The word was flossino sinihili pilification. So, and it's a word. Some of you were not actually updated. You were talking about abracadabra, mambo jambo, higlidi piglidi. No. We have second edition. And I'm sure third edition will come one day. I am speaking on entrepreneurship, a functional element for economic growth and stability of developing economies. But just briefly, why did we set up or started this FES? As part of my PhD, I realized something. In fact, my PhD work actually came as a result of a problem statement that I observed in Ghana, and I'm sure it might be in most of the developing economies, but not in any well-established financial economy or country or developed economy. And after using that, I'm like, okay, why won't I make sure that I develop a system that will propagate this idea? Probably one day it will be taken serious. Thanks be to God, I had to be interviewed whether it was a good topic or not. Can you see for you to get the opportunity to do PhD in mathematics, finance, actuarial science, statistics? It's not a joke. My professor will tell you. I had to be interviewed twice. And when I got the opportunity, I was very happy. I struggled to come out with a new financial economic formula. Once there was a man called Sharp. The maiden one was done in 1965. Capital asset pricing model, CAPM. Those of you who are into finance, you know that. The second one was arbitrage price theory, that is APT, by a man called Ross. And the third one was done by two people. That was an optimal one. Was by Hanan and Lian. And the fourth one was done, so the first one in the 60s, the second one 64, 76, and in the 90s. And then 1919, thereabout, or in the 19s there, or 90s. Another one was done by Deming. Then I did the 1920, 21st. Actually, I finished in 1920, but there was COVID. So my graduation went into 21st. And I'm summarizing it quick, then I go to mine, so that you know why this thing was giving birth. There is a fundamental financial economic anomaly in Ghana that we are all overlooking. It's got nothing to do with a particular government. And the anomaly is that treasury bills in Ghana most of the times, or many a time, give returns more than the risky assets. So most of you know this simple, is it analogy or whatever it is, or maxim, which states that the higher the risk, the higher expected returns. So when it comes to risk, in investment, risk return, if I'm investing in, say, GCB or EcoBank, and I'm investing in any of you here's company, GCB or EcoBank are likely to give me less returns than yours. The reason is that the probability that you may not be able to pay me is higher than GCB and EcoBank. So we categorize the risk of all the investments. And that's why we have risk averse. I don't want to go into the technical aspect. One of the assets or securities categorized as risk-free all over the world is government assets, including treasury bills. So anywhere in the world, if you invest in any of the banks, in any of the private assets or securities, you are expected to have higher return than returns from treasury bills, because treasury bills are risk-free. So if you go through the models, the formulas that we use to calculate returns on investment or investing in risky assets, all over the world, the country's T-bill rate, so if T-bill give you 10%, because you are taking risk, they will add something to it. So it will be 10 plus 1, 2, 3. But check Ghana here. I have this table, if they can put it on, I'm not going to go through this. The table, I just want the table. Just the table. Yes. If you see the table, I can't read from here, but I picked a few banks. And you realize that T-bills were giving higher returns than the banks, which means the risk-free assets are rather giving more returns, contradicting the entire global standard. And it's one of the reasons most of the banks, we have, I'm sure, a lot of bankers here, they invest their monies in government assets. And because they invest their monies in government assets, which is categorized as risk-free, we have limited amount on the market for private sector. And because the amount is so limited, and the private sector is big and they are demanding for capital, there is always double-digit interest rate. So I call Ghana and other countries as double-digit interest rate economy. I am not doing politics. Don't insult me and say that It's not about NDC and PP. It's a problem with our country. So media, don't go and change this story because we want to help Ghana. Sometimes when you have good intentions and you want to help your own society, somebody somewhere will change the story and mislead and introduce arbitrariness in the decision-making processes of Ghanaians. And they tend to complain, attack MPP and DC. But we all play part. So what happens is that private sector in Ghana does not, or the companies do not get adequate funds. That's one. The little that they are sharing, the interest rate or the cost is so high. What happens is that they cannot get enough to produce to meet aggregate demand. And because of that, we are forced to import from outside to make room for the needed, or the, I don't know the English to even use here. Is it what? To fill in the gap, if I'm trying to be quite simple. I don't use big words, that's why I'm being careful. And by doing that, because we import to add up, we are always demanding for foreign currency. It's one of the major reasons our currency ritually gets problems. And when I use the word ritual, they change them. They say, oh, I said spiritual. And they use that for TikTok, and people were insulting me. It was interesting. And because of also that, the private sector cannot expand organically to meet the growing population. So we also have unemployment issues. You see, one simple technical, fundamental technical anomaly. See what is causing sequentially. And because they cannot also expand to meet the students and the labor force, I mean, whatever it is, we are always having unemployment issues. And because of that, the bank's integration, in my opinion, and per the analysis I did, if you look at the chain, because it has a linear relationship, the bank's integration, or the investment aspect, of our GDP, in my opinion, is not giving the right figure. Because the banks are being valued probably higher than they were supposed to, because they were not paying what they were supposed to pay. A lot of bankers and others agree, but they say that, oh, it's the government, because of government demands for. It's not high I'm talking about. It's that proportional response. So that if T-bills go even 30%, and I invest in any bank or private sector assets, it should go 30.1 or 30 plus 1. And it's the opposite. So all the formulas from 1965 by Sharp, Ross, Hanan and Lien, Deming, were not applicable or good pointers for Ghana. And that was what I came out with. So I developed an enhanced formula, tested. I quite remember one friend from Parliament said that, oh, how can you do a formula? Then I said something, he was off. I'm like, formulas are not like any other, sorry to say, work done, because I don't use somebody's area. It's a formula. If you feed that into a computer and it doesn't run, it's not a formula. So don't think it's something like a joke. All the three formulas that are built on had some shortcomings. One of them did not consider the fact that bank funds, you need to subtract national reserve before what is left for investment. The other one also tried to do that, but did not consider the fact that it's not only for the market, but other risk areas. It did not even consider the premium and stuff like that. So I built a new formula on that. And because I wanted to champion this cause, and one of the areas of my work was that my model made room for conditions that could even enable the banks to know that if I invest 30% of my fund in risky assets, 35 probably in the market, maybe the rest in government funds, and government area even disappoint me or risky assets disappoint me, I'll have enough money to live, to survive as a bank. Because some of the banks had invested over 60% in government assets, bonds and co. So when the holdout came, most of them were suffering because of DDEP, you know. But my formula made room for that adjustment so that you know how to put into proportions your fund so that you are always secured. It goes on and on and on. It's a nice model. I wonder how we'll take it. I've had opportunity to be in 2 other countries in the world. They gave me opportunity, and I made my name there. In fact, our first maiden edition, we had a professor from Switzerland, one from Pakistan. They all came, and some foreigners, some were from Korea, and they came. So out of that, we had FES established in Ghana. Then we had a second one. The third one, we chose entrepreneurship because we feel, just like even in the developed economies, Prof was saying something. It is a fact. Most Ghanaians say that, but also have the other side of the coin. These days, if you travel, I started traveling before I went to Care University as a very, far younger than this. These days, if you travel and you bear with me, you see a lot of foreigners to come into Ghana. A lot. I've never seen it before. Particularly white people. So sometimes we think ours is so bad, but others see something in, and they come. The Indians, the Chinese, the Europeans, the Americans, they are coming. If you like, go to the airport and check. So as much as some of our young people, out of curiosity and thinking else, somewhere is better, I don't think it's so. Yes, somewhere is definitely better, and your place is also better than other places. Most of the countries, in the 90s when we used to go to UK, you are filling a form and they are asking, do you want to start work tonight? Plenty jobs on one street. Today, they have better jobs than us, more jobs than us, but it's not like it used to be. And we are an import-driven economy. We depend on them. And that is why we think for your future to be better off and contribute your quota to building this country, entrepreneurship is the way out. Where you develop your own ability to create your own businesses so that the congested job space or domain, you not go and add yourself to it and have troubles. And I'll read quickly, very quick, maybe I'll jump because I've explained almost everything. For the sake of the students, entrepreneurship is simply the ability and commitment to creating new viable businesses for profit-making purposes in a competitive environment. Even the economists of the left share a healthy respect for the power of market forces and private initiative. And this was said by Roderick, 207. The left economists' major economic policy is redistributive economic policy. That's socialism. While the right economists adopt property right entrenchment, that is capitalism. So when you have a socialist like NDC and capitalist like MPP, one adopts in economics, they say expansionary fiscal policies, and the other one contractionary. One believes in private sector being engine of growth, the other one believes in no central government. But even now, I believe in pragmatism, where the prevailing challenge should rather necessitate a particular policy. Generally, the world seems to be leveraging the rightist, but the developing economies necessitate social intervention policies at certain times due to predominantly poverty segment along their social stratification. For instance, the New Patriotic Party in Ghana is a capitalistic in nature, but rolls out pro-poor policies, both in kind and cash. However, the National Democratic Congress, Social Democrat, but shows tendencies towards capitalistic economic policies sometimes. So the two parties, they are at the extreme end and they are moving to the center. The capitalists believe largely in, as far I've said, I'll move on. It is becoming increasingly inevitable that the developing economies need to entrench private sector initiative in their public policy frameworks that promote diversification and technological dynamism beyond the capability of the market forces. Entrepreneurship must play a key role in modern economic growth and development, especially in the developing economies in which the public space or domain for employment is heavily congested. Somebody has finished school 10 years, he's still home looking for a job. Time is not on our side. I would have shown you my farms. 2009, I was sacked. I was working at National Health Insurance. I started farming. Then I went to KNUST for part-time lecturing. Then I started consultancy. I started with maize and plantain. And now I have one of the largest palm plantations in Kwahu West, near Nkoko. I have a very large maize farm. I was lecturing, doing this. I'm doing plenty things. Why? Entrepreneurship, the ability and commitment. If I had waiting for white-collar job after being sacked because of politics, I would have been home begging now. So the essence of this program edition is to let you redefine your own individual focus and adopt new paradigm shift in going forward, how you want to fashion out your future. And make sure that entrepreneurship is the option for you now. It doesn't mean don't look for jobs. But it means that there are a lot you can do by yourself and even live better than those who have gotten the opportunity to work or have white-collar jobs. The developing economies are predominantly import-driven economies, indicating clearly that the industry segments of the overall economic chains are mostly occupied by actors from the developed economies. They have cheaper cost of capital, benefit more from economy of scale, better advanced technology, and stronger entrepreneurial ecosystems. The strategic positions of these advanced economies deepen Ghana's unpalatable import positions of these advanced economies, and thereby threatening our import substitution agenda. The way to go, I believe, is entrepreneurship, especially a country such as Ghana that has a wide range of commercially viable raw materials, natural resources, and a large size of labor force with diverse skill component of the labor force. Good doctors, good teachers, good farmers, good lecturers, good engineers, forest, semi-forest, savannah, cocoa, cashew, bauxite, iron, pawpaw, mango, everything. And one of the easiest way, or one of the simplest value chains you can create is from the agricultural sector. Producing juice from mango or orange. It doesn't call for any complex value chain management. So you can easily start something as a young one. And if you are already having a white-collar job, you can diversify. You can spread your risk. It's so important. God being so good, time resource is the only resource in creation that whether you are poor or rich, young or old, whether you are colossal or dwarf, whether you are from the north, south, central part, is there for you. It's free. You are not taxed, nothing. So you have to use it. The young people, as well as the energetic men and women, should take the available opportunities, create new businesses, rather than scrambling or struggling for the limited job space for the growing labor force. Entrepreneurship is an illustrative element of a strong private sector-led economy. What does entrepreneurship do for us as a country or people? Creating new businesses, creating more jobs and employment, enhances purchasing power. Because if you set up your business, you have something in your pocket. Enhances revenue generation for the countries. Once you have a lot of entrepreneurs with a lot of enterprises, pay corporate taxes. We wouldn't be struggling with our fiscal space. Reduces national deficit, strengthens local currency because we will not import as we are importing now. Driving, I'm not saying we will not import at all, even America imports, but the level or the extent. Driving the expansion of economic growth creates a healthy balance between the macroeconomic and macro and then micro. A lot of Ghanaians always say, whether it's NDC, MPP in government, they say that, oh, the macroeconomic figures do not reflect in our pocket. I think entrepreneurship is the connection. Because that one, whatever it is your own business. We must trigger our individual entrepreneurial instincts as citizens. We must rebuild and strengthen our weak entrepreneurial ecosystems as a nation. Few people believe seriously anymore that state planning and public investment can act as the driving force of economic development. I personally think Woodrick's assertion derives its emphasis from the developed economies. For the developing economies, such as Ghana, most citizens think otherwise, and that mindset must be changed. Government can come up with all the policies, create all the conducive environment, but our mindset. National policies by all governments, though in different measures, underscore the need to support entrepreneurship. We need to upscale our preference for entrepreneurship through private sector inclined economic policies. The Ghanaian banks should take a second look and extend their credit arms to the Ghanaian entrepreneurs and try to help them grow from small through medium to large businesses. It will come back to benefit them. Banks generally fund public-related activities and invest in government securities in inappropriate proportions. Over 60% generally, that's what they do. I stand to be corrected. If risk-free offers a higher return than risky assets, what will drive the appetite of banks? Some of the challenges we are having is very weak entrepreneurial ecosystems. Some days, oh, we need capital, we need capital. If you like pick 100 people here, give them money without interest. After 2 years, 90% the money will go waste. Understanding your own value chain. That's why I agree with Prof that we need to help create an opportunity for orientation and training for Ghanaian investors and entrepreneurs. So it's not just the capital, because they know how. Performance is the function of three things. 1, ability. 2, opportunity. 3, motivation. So if you don't have the ability and we create the opportunity, you cannot. If you are the best driver and there's no car, you can't drive. If you are the best driver with car and there's no motivation, you cannot upscale your performance. So all relevant stakeholders should come on board. I'm going to end soon because I'm jumping all of them. Then my recommendation, they may not be the best, but I'm sure they will help. Fiscal policy should be private sector entrepreneurship oriented, provoked, or they should provoke entrepreneurial instincts of the citizens. Thanks be to God, our finance ministry just recently launched about 8.2 million commitment fund to support SMEs. My boss, yes, it's 8.2 million. Billion, I said million. You see, I think I said billion, sorry, thank you. That's why if you have somebody checking you and supervising you is good. 8.2 billion. And this time, the difference is that we are not going to give small monies. We want to give big money so that they can employ other people as entrepreneurs. You have to take the opportunity and the advantage. Even salvation, God says seek. God could have given us free salvation. But even with that, he says seek. With fear and trembling. So for your welfare and your well-being, Proverbs 10:4 says that lazy hands make a man poor, but diligent hands bring wealth. So you can't pray 24/7 and think you will make it. It's not possible. Monetary policy should be calibrated to rather create space for more credit and cheaper cost of credit. Sometimes I disagree, but I wouldn't say I'm right. that we need to move monetary policy every time up because inflation is going up. I think we need to look at the cause of the inflation, whether it's demand pull or cost push. If it is cost push and you increase your interest rate, you aggravate the problems. But if it's demand pull, then you can do the otherwise. So I think the central bank and the banks should look at this, because sometimes investors are suffering at your hands or whatever, or some of your decisions. And we need to review Ghana's entrepreneurial ecosystem, strengthen and harmonize the key factors. Capacity building, I've said that. World trade policies needs a review to create the required level playing field. Sometimes it's painful. They can bring, we cannot bring. We cannot send. It's something we need to work on. Tax tariffs and other relevant policies to discourage monopoly and excessive importation. Monopoly, oligopoly, cartel. I have different economic policy on this. I don't think a developing economy, free market economy policy is good for us. I think we should have mixed. Mixed where if we see healthy competition on the market, we leave the market forces to decide. But where there is oligopoly, monopoly, or cartel, there should be a price cap policy, because Ghanaians are generally profiteering and it affects us. Somebody can make 400% profit. I don't think it's right. It causes distortion and very dysfunctional to the expected equitability. And I don't think that is right. Entrepreneurship should be officially included. Here, I beg you, Prof, everybody should help me. My minister, please talk to education minister. It's my dream that one day this country, entrepreneurship will become an official subject for SHS, compulsory, and then it will become optional at the tertiary level. Why? Entrepreneurship. It is the way to go. So I beg, as a country, entrepreneurship should be. It should be a compulsory subject for any SHS student. Sometimes you have pharmacists, doctors, lawyers, they have their own businesses, but they can't manage. No, just some too can really manage it. Not that they are not good. They are good. But because they did not have that training. So entrepreneurship, and I'll push this. I'm going to make a statement in Parliament next sitting, God willing, if I'm alive, and work with the private sector or the whatever government to come out with a bill and make that a law in our country. Technology, I don't have to talk about because I think everybody knows about that. It's very important. And then there should be a well-defined policy boundary factor model to enhance coordination and harmonization for efficiency and effectiveness. Entrepreneurship should be given consideration in state budgets. Thank my minister, I've already said that. Then we cannot forget about green entrepreneurship. The world is going green. Climate change is very important. Climate change is so important. Don't let us joke. Something that we think is not going to affect us. I'm done, but please take this home. Just quick one, you go and read on. Tips for those who are interested. Research and development. As students, use your TikTok and social media space to learn something good and better. Please use that to do research. Research. It will help you. Rather than looking at somebody, hey, you don't get anything from it. Nothing. Insulting. If somebody is using insolent words, that's what you are interested in. Hey, just open something about what you are doing on your area. You want to sell. What do you know about selling? You want to produce. What do you know about producing? You want to be a lawyer, a pharmacist. What do you know? Start doing that. You want scholarship. Recently, I had the opportunity to support somebody for scholarship. I took the person's paper to where they give the scholarship. The person had not applied. I wanted to help somebody to go to law school. The person went to Gimpa. Simple things about Ghana. The person didn't know. Please, it's up to you. One of the things that I find it difficult for Ghanaian entrepreneurs and investors is their inability to understand their own value chains. Before we put up this building, they had a document. They had done research, soil test, everything, design, metals, before they decided to. But sometimes, our own businesses. Oh, Dubai is good, oh, China, oh, this is a knife. No, that's not the way to go. You'll be in trouble. You need to research, have a data, design your value chain, understand each of the segments. Adiano, how many people are selling on this market? Where do I get it from? Do I have plain fare? How much will it cost me? Do I need one person, two people? Even in my area, there was one of the big banks in Ghana. I'm ending here. That there was a time they sacked their MD. Do you know why? They were differentiation. When I say differentiation, they were top. I mean, niche for the rich top people. So when the Nigerian banks and the small banks started coming, they were, addressing the needs of the SMEs. So that bank decided to go quickly into that segment. And I saw a big building between Ahojo roundabout and Ahojo. Very big one. And I told one of my friends that I'm shocked. Such international bank. Where they put the building, almost everybody who earns averagely 1,000 cedis a month leaves the place early in the morning to go to a doom. And the person comes back late. So the banking hours, they are not there. Those left were, sorry to say, I'm not heaping scorn on them, but I'm talking about, it's a capital per income, where houseboys and laborers who were earning those days 100 Ghana, 200 Ghana cedis. And they have put up a structure that by observation had to cost them millions. And this friend was working there. After about 6 months, they give the building out. The most important thing in life, when you want to do something, take your time, research, collect your data, analyze your data, design something out of your data. That will even let you analyze the possible risk factors. I want to sell t-shirts. Election time is the time that I need to go to parliament. Oh no, abunye 6 mame. Oh no, abunye 10 mame. Oji anadia komo obi. Begin to think. Be smart. Without designing your value chain out of your own collected data, research, you'll be in trouble. Risk. And then there are two main risk factors you need to know. Of course, legal implication of whatever you do. You have a friend lawyer. I want to do this by law. What does it mean? What can happen? Then the person advises you. It's very important. But the risk involved, two. One, systematic risk factors. That one is a bigger. The market is difficult to diversify. It's a big problem. But most of the risk factors we don't talk about as entrepreneurs or prospective or those with the potential, and even a country, is the unsystematic, specific. You go to somebody's company, the security man, front desk, the way they will talk to you, won't go there again. They are not trained. You go to somebody's car wash. London, I was sacked. Why? I did somebody's car and there was no scratch. A horrible way. Was a fine scratch. And they sacked me. Before you do the car wash, they train you. They give you the rules. Here, I want car wash, then you go into it. We need to do a lot of things different. If you will be a successful entrepreneur, or if you have entrepreneurial instincts working successfully, I didn't know whether to say entrepreneurial or entrepreneur. That's why, forgive me. These are the expected characteristics of a successful entrepreneur. That is, if you can model and trigger your entrepreneurial instincts correctly. One, you should always plan ahead. You should always plan ahead. Me, I'm thinking about after 60, what will happen? Every time I think about 10 years ahead, then I start working towards that. Advanced organization, you start planning your life. I start saving money. I'm saving money. Honorable, I want to do this business. I have 10,000. I need extra 2,000. Any good honorable, if he has money, he will give you. Unless he doesn't believe that it was God that blessed him or her. Successful employee scouting. That one they make cry for short. oh, she's my friend, he's my friend, he's my son. Meritocracy. Me, it's difficult for me, but I'm telling you, I think Paul said that, watch me as you go to God as signboard and not me. Paul said something like that. I'm here, I'm weak here. Meritocracy is a big problem in Ghana. We don't even, want to say fano, papa say fano, or political one say fano, we na fanisha ha, means what they never call. For us, so you go to some of the companies, nice girls and boys, then you need to, don't be absentee entrepreneur or new movie. Certain standards for time, quality, and ultimate, but attainable goals. When I say next year, I'm going to build ship when you don't have motor. I can't remember there were two young guys. Somebody told you one went to go and steal pawpaw, and the owner was chasing them. They were twins. And then the younger one was saying, God, if this man doesn't get me, I'll buy you a car. And then the other ones, but even our daddy doesn't even have motorbike. Was a try me dad and yame, me men yame rap, me dad and yame, men dad cut your coat according to your size. Stay within your capability, and you grow from there because God will help you to grow. Determination. If you don't determine, you are in trouble. If you go to cultural center, our time when we were kids, they had names. Spelling bee guys. I'm not bragging. I was one of the top guys in Ashanti region. But I failed exams before. How to write exams. I got sick. I got a lot of problems. Almost every good lecturer taught me. Aki Ola taught me at home. There were two, Aki and Ola. Different subjects, English. In fact, my English teacher was called Mr. Flint. I think it's the reason that people are saying I speak good English. Whether that is true or not, I don't know. But I determined to go to school, and I never give up. My mates finished first degree before I started my first degree because I had to go up and down, travel and come. But by the grace of God, if we are taking 10% out of my mates who have PhD, I'm one of them. Efficient and effective office management. Look, efficiency means managing resources well. Effective means getting the resource you want. You can get a resource and you run at loss because you are not being efficient. And then regular stakeholder meetings. How many times do you meet your staff? If you have friends and you put money together, how many times do you meet? The last thing I want you to know, that if you are here and you want to do business or go into new business, create your own businesses as entrepreneur, about 4 ways you can get money. 1, maybe you have money sitting somewhere. Maybe you go to where they can lend you money if you qualify. Maybe you bring your friends together and set up businesses. Maybe you get grant or funds from probably outlaid funds or monies by the government. So you need to understand all this. If you go and borrow and you are not paid, you are in trouble. You will pay with interest. If you put your money together to start businesses, you don't have any problem. If it goes on well, you share. If it collapses, you have no problem. The world today is redefining its economic policy focus by introducing new paradigm shift for the changing environment, increasing population, increasing fiscal risk, and climate change, among other factors. It is accordingly imperative to begin a new wave of entrepreneurship advocacy that will change the focus of young population struggling for the rationed employment space. Ghanaian youth and the job-searching class should get involved in the entrepreneurship revolution agenda. The system must be tailored by the relevant stakeholders and policymakers to create the needed opportunity and support for those who want to create new businesses. And then by doing that, we can grow our economy. And also to those who want to expand their businesses. It's good that you told me that I'm ending. To attain our long-term economic growth and stability as a country, the way to go now is entrepreneurship. And how to start it is you. What you want to use your resource for. I have this saying that the usefulness or otherwise of any resource or opportunity in the world lies in the discretionary decision-making process of the beholder. Knife can be used to kill. Knife can be used to prepare food. This thing can give me shelter and I'll live. This thing can take me to jail. You can use your time from here. Every day, honeysuckle. No problem. One day you see. Or you take all that we've learned, you go and research, and you start something. After school, what do you do? Vacation, what do you do? You've been looking for a job for plenty times. You don't get, what do you do? The usefulness or otherwise of time resource lies in the discretionary decision of you as a beholder. Thank you very much. God bless you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for that inspiring speech. There's so much indeed we can do to improve ourselves professionally, personally. I think my first personal challenge that I'm taking from him is to pronounce his word. Floxinosinihilipilification. Did I get it right? Floxinosinihilipilification. Wow. I'm throwing the challenge to Kwame. Kwame, you have to pronounce this word. Thank you so much. We are streaming live on the Financial and Economic Institute of Africa's Facebook page, also on YouTube, Financial Economic Institute of Africa, and live on the Facebook page of Joy News. We're just going to take a quick musical break again from Shebre Musical Group. This time they are coming away with the Gota dance, all the way from, it used to be from Benin, but it has been adopted by the Ever people. Please take it away. Thank you so much, Shebre. Thank you. Thank you, Shebre. That was very spirited. I think today we have so many distinguished people here. Please, if you're like me, don't forget to strike an acquaintance with one of them before they leave. Our next speaker is a transnational banking star. He is Mr. Samuel Adu, the Executive Director of Wholesale and Investment Banking at Ghana Commercial Bank. He has years of experience in structuring, origination, trading, and execution, and has made significant contributions to the financial landscape in both the United Kingdom and in Ghana. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Samuel Adu.
Thank you very much. Do these work? Oh, they do, very loud and clear. Thank you very much, and it's a great honor to be here today. And given how much time we've spent already, I want to try and make this in 10 minutes. So if you have your watches or your clocks, please set your time to 10 minutes from now. If I'm not done in 10 minutes, then you can ask me to leave the stage. But before you set your clock ticking, two things I want to talk about. You know, Honorable talked about the issues of interest rates. Like many other macroeconomic factors, they tell a story. If your interest rate on you is higher than the next, it tells a story. So there's a reason why always you'd find interest rate on one item or one borrower is higher than the other. With that said, I'll move quickly to today's discussion, and you can set your clocks in about 2 minutes' time from now. I'm speaking on behalf of Kofi Adomako, who was hoping to be here, but he had to attend another event. Kofi and I are different in many ways. Number one, he's my boss. He's more intelligent, capable, and does a better job than I do. Number two, we don't look quite alike in many ways than one. But the Apostle Samuel Amponsa Frimpong, Honorable Abner, who's just left, Dr. Stephen Amoa, and Prof, my dear Prof, all protocols observed. I'd like to have a quick conversation with you. I want to bring hope to the conversation. Prof talked about all the reasons why things are not going the way they should do. And it is true, I agree 100%, but there's often some little challenge with empirical analysis. It doesn't capture the hope side of things. And today I want to bring you reason why you should be hopeful to be an entrepreneur in Ghana. There is hope for us to succeed in Ghana, and I hope by the end of today's conversation we would be close to that. The economists view entrepreneurship as a multifaceted concept, right? And it involves opportunity, recognition, taking risks. Prof talked about the difference between self-employed and being an entrepreneur. An entrepreneur means you take risks. Self-employed can suggest that you are quite not aggressive, you don't want to take the sort of risk, but an entrepreneur means you are willing and able to take the risk to achieve what you want to do. If you look at a lot of data, MSMEs, micro, small, medium enterprises are the main bedrock of each country. In Ghana, close to 80% of all companies employ these sorts of individuals. If you look at the value or the number of companies registered today in Ghana, 90% of them are MSMEs. So MSMEs essentially are the ones driving a lot of the entrepreneurship as a country. You can start your clocks now, 10 minutes from now. So MSMEs have delivered a lot of value and continue to deliver a lot of value, and there are various ways in which we must try to drive and promote that. They dominate the entrepreneurial landscape and play a pivotal role in the economic development and sustainability of emerging economies. In sub-Saharan Africa, we boast of high rates of entrepreneurial activity, and I guess the reason is that necessity is always the mother of invention. Because oftentimes we have to resort to being entrepreneurial. But since we are at an economic forum, I probably would say scarcity drives innovation. But as we move on, and I'd like to share some more insights about what we at GCB are doing from addressing the entrepreneurial challenges that are in place. We know for a fact that, and it's been discussed earlier on, that entrepreneurship drives job creation. It is a fact, and is one of the ways we can grow and become a significant country or a people. Entrepreneurship also drives innovation. It is one of the ways people begin to do things differently. It's because of the challenges and the difficulties that they face and the desire to surmount some of these challenges. If you look at Africa, we probably have some significant achievements. M-Pesa from Kenya, our own Momo in Ghana is a significant trump card. These platforms are effectively addressing the latent need for financial services among a majority of the population where traditional sources do not serve. There is opportunity for us to bring social change affecting agriculture in agric technology, affecting education in education technology, edutech, and also payments and lending system. And as I bring this to a close, I'll speak to some areas which are important to us at GCB that we wish to bring to bear. Ghana, as we all say, has a lot of young people, and that brings with it the opportunities that we would all seek to enjoy. Ladies and gentlemen, the real spark that fires up entrepreneurship in developing economies is multifaceted. It's driven by necessity, opportunity recognition, resource availability, supportive policies, cultural factors, education, globalization, social and environmental concerns, and strong networks. These elements combine to create a fertile ground for entrepreneurial activity. The question today we are discussing is that there's entrepreneurship drive economic growth, but we've also seen that economic growth and good economic environment also promotes entrepreneurship. So we at GCB Bank PLC, we've positioned our businesses and client engagement to set up and create simplicity for all our clients. This is evident in the way we are organized to support the micro, small, and medium-scale enterprises and entrepreneurs in general to take advantage of the changing market opportunities. I'd like at this stage to move to the next slide for us to see some of the great work that various entrepreneurs have achieved in Ghana. As you see on the slide, this is a fintech entrepreneur who's going very far from Nigeria. So fintech is an area for entrepreneurship. And let's move on to the next slide. Again, you see pharmaceuticals becomes an area for entrepreneurship. So it's not limited to one area or one sphere of activities. And let's go to the next slide. Here also you see the nature, and people who have interest in ESG related activities also present opportunities for entrepreneurship. Honorable spoke about the fact that people need knowledge, education, training. That is an opportunity for an entrepreneur to take advantage of. Anything that anybody needs in large quantity is an opportunity for you to sell. And let's go on to the next slide. We also know this name quite well, who is doing very well in Ghana and achieving a lot and flying high the flag of Ghana. And finally, I want to spend some time looking at an opportunity that GCB is bringing to bear. We want to come to a place where we spend close to 2.5 billion cedis in a particular segment of the economy. We've chosen the cashew subsector of the economy. Agric is a significant growth area for Ghana as well as services, but we can't do everything at the same time, so we've picked out cashew, and over the next 18 months, we want to invest close to 2.5 billion cedis into that environment. And ask me how. We spent the last 3 months speaking to the entire cashew subsector. We've gone from the Tree Crop Authority, we've gone to speak to farmers, we've spoken to traders, we've spoken to the entire value chain to understand fully how it works. But the trick is this. The challenge for banks is that even though we have the money to lend, we are worried about the money not coming back. So how do we address this problem where I have a lot of money to lend? There are a lot of people who need the money, but I cannot pass the money across because I'm afraid the money will not come back. And the answer is technology. So what we are putting together is a framework that allows that everybody in the chain is plugged onto a technology platform such that everywhere the money goes from beginning to end, we can tell where the money is. That way, we can bring the necessary financing that we have as a bank, as a firm, to the parts of the economy which are most needed. It's the only way we can achieve success as a country, is to pick up specific areas, focus our energies and time in those areas, and then deploy the necessary capital too. If we go on to the next slide. So it's important that we share some of these outcomes. And I know many of you here today may not be trading in cashew, but I can see as you graduate, you'll probably be coming to GCB to benefit from this outcome. And next slide. Next slide. So as I bring this to a close, entrepreneurship is needed. There is a need for us to have the hope that it is possible to achieve in Ghana. Banks like ourselves are dedicated, putting our time, our resources to bear to drive this agenda. And together, collectively, we'll be able to achieve what we wish to achieve for Ghana. Ghana, eye me, enewo dia. Thank you very much.
Don't be deceived by the color. Ghana, me, and Odia. Another round of applause for GCB. Now, GCB formerly was the Ghana Commercial Bank, and they had a tagline: "We serve you better." Today, GCB is the bank for life. Perhaps tomorrow, it will be Bank for Life and the next generation. GCB, thank you so much for that inspiration. But GCB is organizing an exhibition at the foyer of this prestigious hall. So we have our exhibitors at the foyer, which includes GCB, the Old Mutual Life Assurance Company Limited, Same Group of Companies, the Study Center, Japan Motors, Fidelity Bank, Necessary Paint, CAFAM, Loyalty Insurance, New Crystal Health, Katia Furniture and Deco, Debs, Intimate, and Detergent. So at the foyer, you can experience the touch of GCB. I also like to acknowledge the presence of the Chargé d'Affaires at the Malaysian High Commission, His Excellency Said Nazar. If you are here, Mr. Way, we thank you so much for your presence here. Now, the group that performed, Shebre Group, anytime that you want them, you can give them a call on 0246 923300 or 0554 827115. We have our last speaker for this session. And after this session, we also have the engagement part, and that will be more interesting. You need to stay a little longer for that, because that's the only way you can get the opportunity to ask questions about entrepreneurship. People have talked about entrepreneurship. I remember in one of the movies of Kumawood, a lady went to the palace and they asked her, "What do you do?" And she said, "I'm an entrepreneur." And the linguist asked back, "Now, entrepreneur, no one idea." It was very deep because if you're an entrepreneur, you should know your commodity. You should know what you have and how you can sell. So it wasn't misplaced when he asked, now what and a product. It was very deep, but we took it as a comedy. Our final speaker for this session is a man of God. He's the 9th chairman of the Christ Apostolic Church International. He was inducted into the highest office of the church in March 2023 after successfully being elected by the Church General Council during their 66th General Council meeting held in February 2023. Now, he served as the General Secretary of the church from 2019 to 2023 with distinction. He responded to the call into full-time ministry of the Christ Apostolic Church International on the 1st of October 1999 after turning down an appointment with the diplomatic service. He was later ordained during the church Easter Convention held on the 1st of April 2004. Subsequently, he was posted to Ashaman Central as circuit pastor, area secretary, where he served for 7 years. Our last speaker attended the University of Ghana, where he obtained his Bachelor of Law degree in 1996 and was called to the bar in 1998. In 2003, he was offered a full scholarship to pursue a Master of Law program in Human Rights and Democratization in Africa at the University of Pretoria, South Africa. He also studied at the Abo Academy University in Turku in Finland for a postgraduate diploma in international human rights. In 2005, he had additional training with the International Criminal Investigators course offered by the University of Leiden in Netherlands. A very impressive resume. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, with a round of applause, let's welcome Apostle Samuel Amponsa Frimpong, Esquire.
Good morning. I almost said praise the Lord. I am coming from the classical Pentecostal church, and we do not take praise the Lord for granted at all. Honorable Stephen Amwa, my own MP, and the Deputy Minister, all protocols duly observed. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can tell from my resume, I am neither an economist nor an expert in finance. I am a human rights lawyer and a simple pastor. So I will approach everything from the angle of the Bible. If you agree with me, say yes. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to start by commending the organizers of this year's Financial Economic Seminar for creating this platform. It is indeed a privilege to address you at this seminar, where we have gathered to explore the forces shaping the economic landscape of our nation. I salute the various speakers for this year's seminar. Today, I wish to highlight on the role of the Christian faith in entrepreneurial development. Honorable Minister, the belief system of people normally play a crucial role in the formation of their worldviews. In other words, what a person believes in will most certainly instill certain values and tendencies in him or her. This may be positive or negative. Since majority of the people of Ghana subscribe to the Christian religion, I believe it is very important to investigate the role that the Christian faith plays in our understanding of entrepreneurial development in Ghana. Mr. Chairman, generally speaking, entrepreneurship is a process of starting and running a new business venture with the aim of making profits. It includes recognizing a need in the market or an opportunity, creating a product or company concept to fill the gap, and then taking the required action to make the idea a reality. This often includes securing funding, creating a business plan, managing resources, marketing, and sales. Entrepreneurs are often characterized by their willingness to take risk, innovate, and drive new ideas and processes. They play a crucial role in the economy by creating jobs, fostering innovation, and contributing to the economic growth. It involves combining innovations, skills, and vision to develop new products, services, or ideas that meet market demand and create value for a target audience. Entrepreneurship may take place in a number of different fields and businesses, and it can entail developing brand new goods or services as well as enhancing already existing ones. Mr. Minister, Honorable Minister, in our quest to build a successful economy that meets our contemporary challenges, we need to empower our people. An empowered person is a major factor of production in any serious economic activity. The critical role that an empowered person plays in the nation building, therefore, cannot be overemphasized. There are some basic factors that lead to the empowerment of the individual person. This may range from belief systems, good education and training, health and availability of resources and opportunities. Again, he or she must have been prepared to respect certain positive values. For instance, hard work, honesty, patriotism, interpersonal skills, among others. Such a person is most likely to create jobs, engage productively with other people, manage resources in an able manner, anticipate future opportunities, and plans for the same, and also observe certain crucial rules of engagement in his or her chosen career. Honorable Minister, the Holy Bible is a core document of instruction for all Christians. The Old Testament of the Holy Bible is also the main book of instruction for the adherents of the Jewish religion. The Bible, among others, espouses the following values, which I believe plays a crucial role in entrepreneurial development. 1, the belief that humans were created in the image and the likeness of God. Quote, then God said, let us make man in our image and according to our likeness, and let them have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the birds of the air, and over the cattle, and over all the earth, unquote. Genesis chapter 1, verse 26. This belief to me is a powerful tool to empower the thinking of the individual person. It really means that we have the creative capabilities of God because we are created in his image and in his likeness. The average entrepreneur must be a creative person. Number two, the understanding that humans are managers of other created things. Quote, then the Lord God took the man and put him in the Garden of Eden to tend and to keep it. Ladies and gentlemen, growing up, we thought when God sent the created man to the Garden of Eden, it was all about enjoyment. But if you read the text carefully, God actually commissioned him to tend and to keep it in good shape. We have been endowed with the rare capabilities not only to enjoy what is in existence, but to do business with them. The parable of the talent, as told by Jesus Christ in Matthew chapter 25, verse 14 to 30, clearly paints a picture of how to profitably handle and do business with every available resources or opportunity that comes our way. 3, the blessings of hard working. Quote, do you see a man, it also means a woman, who excels in his work? He will stand before kings. He will not stand before unknown men. Proverbs chapter 22, verse 29. The Bible urges Christians to work diligently to create wealth. In fact, laziness is deeply frowned upon. In Proverbs chapter 31, a picture of a virtuous woman was vividly painted. Quote, she makes linen garments and sells them, and surprise sashes for the merchant. Strength and honor are her clothing. She shall rejoice in time to come. She opens her mouth with wisdom, and in her tongue is the law of kindness. She watches over the ways of her household and does not eat the bread of idleness. Her children rise up and call her blessed. Her husband also. He praises her, saying, many daughters have done well, but you excel them all. Unquote. From the above reading, we see a smart, self-employed, hard-working woman whose business acumen earns the respect of everyone. The wisdom of preparation. The Bible talks about the power of good preparation. Quote, the voice of one crying in the wilderness, prepare the way of the Lord, make straight in the desert a highway for our God. Every valley shall be exalted, and every mountain and hill brought low. The crooked places shall be made straight, and the rough places smooth. The glory of the Lord shall be revealed, and all flesh altogether shall see it. Ladies and gentlemen, we see in this reading in Isaiah chapter 40, verse 3 to 5, that even God, the most powerful entity in existence, needs good preparation. In real life, failure to prepare oneself to succeed is almost tantamount to preparing oneself to fail. Quote, and he did evil because he did not prepare his heart to seek the Lord. 2 Chronicles chapter 12, verse 14. This talks about the son of Solomon, who became the next king when Solomon passed on to eternity. This gentleman was called Rehoboam. He had the benefit of the best education. His father was a philosopher king. His father was one of the richest kings ever to live on the face of the earth, if the Bible account is to be taken literally. He had it all, but he did not prepare his heart. And when the opportune time came, this man could not receive the whole kingdom. Of the 12 tribes, he had only 2. The Bible said he did evil because he did not prepare his heart. The God of the Bible is a careful planner, and he also admonishes believers to wage their life battles with wisdom. Quote, for by wisdom and counsel you shall wage your own war, and in the multitude of counselors there is safety. Proverbs chapter 24, verse 6. 5, the wisdom of investment. Quote, cast your bread upon the waters, for you find it after many days. Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 1. The Bible endorses the wisdom of investment. Dissipation of resources is frowned upon. In fact, the whole business of Christianity is the belief that a better future can be attained to, depending on what we do with our life today. 6, time consciousness. The God of the Bible works with time. Quote, he has made everything beautiful in his time. Unquote. Christians are encouraged to redeem the time, for the days are evil. Any person who wants to succeed as an entrepreneur must be time conscious. And you agree with me that this is a major challenge in Ghana and in many parts of Africa. We behave as if God has given us a different time zone. And maybe that is the reason why we are not making it. We blame everyone, and sometimes we blame God himself for giving us much lesser time. 7, the use of a person's talent. Working diligently with one's talent to make profit of the same is a requirement for every sane human being. In Matthew chapter 25, verse 14 to 30, Jesus preached on the parable of the talents. He ensured that all the 3 servants were given talents. 2 of the 3 who profitably worked with the talent were commended and rewarded. The one who neither worked with the talent nor invested it in the bank was severely punished. This parable teaches Christians that life's opportunities must not be wasted. It delights God that gift of humans will be deployed to make them profitable. 8, partnering with others to create better business opportunities. Quote, 2 are better than 1 because they have a good reward for their labor. For if one fall, one will lift his companion. But woe to him who falls when he is alone, for he has none to help him up. Though one may be overpowered by another, 2 can withstand him, and a threefold cord is not easily broken. Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 to 12. We normally hear this when ministers of the gospel are officiating weddings. It is as if it was written only for couples. But if you are a careful reader of the scriptures, you see that the scripture expresses the power of unity and synergy. Indeed, certain things are not meant to be done by an individual. Trying to do these things all by oneself could be very costly and very dangerous. 9, honesty and integrity. Quote, you are the light of the world. The honorable minister whispered into my ears that this is the heart cry of Ghanaians. Are Christians truly the light of the world? But Jesus said, a city that is set in a hill cannot be hidden, nor do they light a lamp and put it under the basket, but on a lampstand, and it gives light to all who are in the house. Ghana is a big house. Ghana is a very big enclave, and Christians are supposed to provide light to show us the way. So let your light shine before men, that they may see your good works and glorify your Father which is in heaven. Unquote. Matthew chapter 5, verse 14 to 16. To become a successful entrepreneur, honesty in business practices and management are very crucial. This is where the usefulness of the Christian faith comes in handy. Faithfully paying one's due to the corporate growth is not only a good thing, but also enables the government to have enough resources to create a better or enabling environment for further successes. 10, gender equality and the strength of the woman. This is very dear to my heart. In a part of the world where men think they are the best of all, the Bible has a different view about our notions. The business acumen of the virtuous woman in the Bible, herein above read, is acknowledged by God. And I want to read certain portions of what King Lemuel said about this virtuous woman. Quote, she seeks wool and flax and willingly works with her hand. She is like a merchant ship. She brings her food from afar. She also rises while it is yet night and provides food for her household and a portion for her maidservants. She considers a field and buys it. From her profits, she planted a vineyard. She girds herself with strength. So women, you are strong. You are potentially strong and you can do better for yourself. And strengthen her arms. She perceives that her merchandise is good. And her lamps does not go out by night. Unquote. Proverbs chapter 31 verse 13 to 18. The above scripture effectively deals with gender biases against women entrepreneurs. 11, innovation and appropriate technology. The use of innovative, appropriate technologies to make a difference is recognized by the Bible. Quote, then the Lord said to Moses, see, I have called by name Bezalel, the son of Uri, the son of Hur, of the tribe of Judah, and I have filled him with the Spirit of God, in wisdom, in understanding, in knowledge, and in all manner of workmanship, to design artistic work, to work in gold, in silver, and in bronze, in cutting jewels for setting, in carving wood, and to work in all manner of workmanship. Unquote. Exodus chapter 31, verse 1 to 6. I believe that most Christians think that the anointing of God is for casting of demons, delivering people, and doing spiritual awesome things. Yes, I agree. But in this particular context, God said, I have found a certain man. He's not a pastor. He's not an elder. He's an ordinary craftsman. And I have endowed him with skills, with competence to deal with minerals, to do with precious stones, and to craft things. That is another dimension of the anointing. So if you are a teacher, you could be an anointed teacher, an anointed minister of state, anointed soldier, anointed police officer. Let us appreciate the Bible from its true context. The anointing is not only for preaching. The anointing is not only for praying and somersaulting. The anointing is not only for prophesying. God can also endow you with the anointing to do certain practical things to make this praise a better praise. In the Bible, Isaac used underground water resources to irrigate his agricultural activities in the year of drought to become a rich man. Quote, then Isaac sowed in the land and reaped in the same year 100-fold. The same year means the same season of drought. And the Lord blessed him. He sowed the seed, he worked, and the Lord blessed him. And the man began to prosper and continued prospering until he became very prosperous. For he had possession of flocks and possession of herds and a great number of servants. So the Philistines envied him. You see, this man sowed, this man worked. He did not look at the dry weather. He knew that there was underground waters, and he tapped into the waters and irrigated his land, and he became a successful entrepreneur in those days, to the extent that a whole kingdom envied him. And the king said, "Go away from us. You are much mightier than we are." So it means it is possible for an individual entrepreneur to even become richer than the whole nation. We do the right thing, there are a lot of possibilities. Now, I talk about taxation and the Christian faith. Christians are required to pay their taxes in the nation building, to help in the nation building. In fact, Jesus Christ, the author and the finisher of the Christian faith, was a taxpayer. He also urged his followers to render unto Caesar what is to Caesar, and to God what is to God. So Christians must pay their tax. You don't only have to pay your tithes. The nation needs your resources to grow from the ashes. Then, peace building. I am almost about to finish. We need a peaceful environment not only to do business, but also to attract the benefit of investment to grow up the economy of the nation. Followers of the teachings of Christ are admonished to promote peace. Quote, "Blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." Matthew chapter 5, verse 9. Ghana is heading towards an election, maybe in 5-6 months. This year, 2024, has been widely described as the year of ultimate elections. Several nations are going through the electioneering season. In Ghana, this, our presidential and parliamentary election yet to come, is one of the most crucial elections ever to be conducted in this part of the world. For the first time, a sitting vice president and a former president and several other powerful people will be contesting for the number one seat. Things are getting heated. For those of us who believe in the gospel, Christ said, "You are the salt of the earth, and blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called sons of God." We have a responsibility to seek the peace of the nation and to pray for it, and also to seek the prosperity. Because in the atmosphere of peace, entrepreneurial investment thrives better. 14, education and skill acquisition. Both Christians and Jews were called the people of the book in the Holy Quran. The Bible urges Christians to study to show themselves approved. Education endows people with the right tools and skills to make them great entrepreneurs. So today, if you go to Tel Aviv, Israel, you see another Silicon Valley in the Middle East. The Jewish people don't joke with secular education. Orthodox Jews also don't joke with their Torah. And when you go to Tel Aviv, you see innovations. You see awesome things. Several things we have and we've been using in Ghana were first designed and produced in that tiny country, in agricultural innovation, in war innovation, in almost everything, water technology, desert farming, desert fish ponds. When you go there and you see the Jordan River, it's so tiny. You can't compare it to our mighty River Prague, which we have judiciously destroyed. We need to educate ourselves. There is a proven example of how education and skill development has positively impacted on entrepreneurial development. I am almost completing. Now, talking about wealth creation. Quote, "And you shall remember the Lord your God, for it is he who gives you power to get wealth." Unquote. Deuteronomy chapter 8, verse 18. The above scripture clearly portrays the God of the Bible as giver of wealth. Then I want to also read something from 1 Thessalonians chapter 4, verse 11 and 12. That you aspire to lead a quiet life and to mind your own business and to work with your hands as we commanded you. So God of the Bible continued to command his people to work with their hands and to stop idling about. Again, a picture of the hand of men has been painted in the scripture that I just read. Working with the hands to create wealth is highly encouraged by the Bible. Amassing wealth in the right way is not adversarial to the God of Christianity. In fact, God blesses people with wealth. Quote, "The Lord would open to you his good treasure, the heavens, to give the rain to you in season, and to bless the work of your hand, and you shall lend to nations," unquote. So the God of the Bible promises people that if you do the right thing, work with your hand, observe the rules of engagement, you become so prosperous that a day will come that you will lend to nations. Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 12. When Moses said this to the children of Israel, they were in the wilderness. They were transiting from Egypt to the promised land. I believe many of them will not believe what Moses said. But today, historically, the Jewish people have become the main financiers of the global economy. Historically, the Jewish people and the Western world have been very successful in wealth creation. This, to a greater extent, has a linkage with the Christian faith. Finally, banking and finance. Quote, "The Lord will open to you the good treasures of heaven. He will give you rain in season, and he will bless your handiwork, and you become lenders to the global economy." Today, the Jewish people and most Western economies are the financiers of the global economy. Their businesses have been greatly influenced by the teachings of the Bible. So, Honorable Minister, how has the above influenced the economy of Ghana? And this is my conclusion. The fact that Christians constitute the majority of Ghana's population is not an issue in doubt. In fact, the 2021 population and housing census affirms that Christians constitute 71.3% of the entire population of Ghana. It is therefore important to appreciate the influence of such a huge group, the influence such a huge group will have on the rest of the populace. It is clearly evident that the overwhelming majority of Ghanaians are either self-employed or are in the private sector of the economy. This ranges from agriculture, fishing, trading, mining, manufacturing, providers of education, health facilities, private securities, etc., etc. Historically, the church has played, and it is still playing, a crucial role in the economic development of our country. Great strides have been made in the provision of education and training in the nation. Health facilities needed to care for the health needs of Ghanaians or Ghanaian people have also been provided by some churches in Ghana. Some of the cash crops known to have contributed immensely to the economy of Ghana were first introduced into this country by the Christian missionaries. A classic example is the introduction of the cocoa seed, which has become the mainstay of the economy of Ghana for several years. Today, most churches are using their platforms to collaborate with like-minded organizations, governmental and non-governmental, to advocate and to encourage their members to venture into the productive sectors of the economy. Honorable Minister, it could be deduced from the foregoing that the Christian faith has a lot to offer in the building of a resilient economy. Jesus called his followers the light of the world. Christians have the rare opportunity to lead in the way of entrepreneurial development of this country. The Christian faith in the country has adequately provided resources for this endeavor. It is my sincere prayer and hope that these measures taken by the Christian faith will trigger the much needed growth of the economy of Ghana. May God bless us all. Amen.
What a way to conclude. Praise the Lord. Praise the Lord. What a way to conclude the first session. From Apostle Samuel Amposa Frimpong Esquire. Very impressive. Yes. You know, I wonder why some people say we can blend the work of God with political governance. Whatever he said here is an indication that there's no line between political governance and religious governance. They are very, very fluid and compatible. So thank you very much, Apostle Samuel Apostle from Paul Esquire. Thank you so much. And we do have a huge delegation, I must say, from the Christ Apostolic Church International here. I will welcome you all. I've seen some familiar faces. Apostle Joseph Ahin is here, and Reverend Stanley Boadia Tafua also here, and I've seen Reverend Felix Usu Setre, Reverend Seth Mate, Reverend George Anyinaku, and of course Reverend Collins Coleman Yeboah. They are all here to support their pastor, support the work of God, and of course support Ghana as well. So members and pastors and reverend ministers from the Christ Apostolic Church International, you are duly welcome, and we appreciate your presence here. Same way, Madam Vivienne Soloji from the Ministry of Roads and Highways, we thank you for your presence. Christiana Boateng, a lecturer at the University of Ghana. Mr. Daniel Mate Kole is also from the Ghana Library Authority. Mr. Eves Doina from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. You are graciously welcome to this all-important summit.
Kwame.
Yes.
Our work is almost done.
Almost.
But there's still a very important
Very
coming
engaging.
up.
Yep.
Yes, we're going to have a very engaging discussion. We have the panelists. I must commend them for coming early. All three of them have been seated here. However, I'm not going to introduce them because there's a moderator specifically for that session. She'll be doing that. But I see them all in front of me. I saw some of them here last year. So I'm going to hand you over into the able hands of Sweetie Abochi. She is the morning show host at Joy News.
A round of applause.
Thank you so much, Kwame. And thank you, Neil. Hello, everyone. You are a fantastic audience, I must say. I know because I was part of you, I was sitting in there and attentive too. I think you all deserve a round of applause. Give yourselves a round of applause. Yes. All right. So, my name is Sweetie Abochi. I'm the morning show host at Joy News. And since, I think 10 a.m. or so, all our speakers have been pouring into us. It's time for us to make it more practical and pack all the things that we've learned or heard here this morning and see how we can actually apply them, not just right here, but when we leave, so that we can remember to actually make something out of it. I'll take a seat, and in a bit I'll introduce the panelists to you. Give yourselves another round of applause. Right, so this afternoon, we'll be joined by three panelists to get into a more practical session of understanding or breaking down how entrepreneurship actually drives economic growth. The first panelist we have this afternoon is Sheila Sechi-Opong. And Sheila Sechi-Opong is a lawyer who has worked as a development professional for several years. Her areas of interest include corporate law, private sector policy planning and development, the social and economic empowerment of women and girls. I'm particularly excited about that. And community-led development. And this is the beautiful Sheila. Welcome her with a round of applause. Thank you. And she's currently the head of strategic planning and implementation at the Office of the First Lady of Ghana and the Rebecca Foundation. She holds the following academic qualifications: a Bachelor of Arts in English and Law from Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, and LLB from Legon, qualifying certificate to practice law, that is the Ghana School of Law, Makola, and management, economics, and international relations. She wears many hats, ladies and gentlemen. Sheila has worked as an administrator with Visit Scotland, Aberdeen office, and a private sector development policy advisor at the Embassy of the Kingdom of Netherlands in Ghana. She has also worked as consultant for the World Bank at the Skills Development Fund project, and has handled many private and public sector clients as lawyer with SK Boafo & Co. Sheila has also participated and contributed at many local and international conferences. Ladies and gentlemen, Sheila. Welcome, Sheila. Right. Our next panelist is Mr. Kofi Owusu-Nkansah. And Mr. Kofi Owusu-Nkansah is a technology and innovation professional with 19 years of experience across various industries. His work experience spans the telecommunications, free zone, utilities and entrepreneurship and innovation industries. In February 2017, he was appointed as the managing director of the Accra Digital Center, that is Ghana Digital Center Limited, where he was tasked to lead and drive innovation and entrepreneurship in the tech ecosystem to help harness the digital potential of Ghana. He has been the Chief Executive Officer of the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program since 2022 in January, where he has been leading the repositioning of that program to focus more on innovation and startups, and currently working with other stakeholders to get Ghana Startups and Innovations Act passed. Welcome aboard, Kofi Owusu-Nkansah. Ladies and gentlemen, Kofi Ofosu-Nkansah. And he also holds a computer science degree from the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology, an MA in marketing strategy from the University of Ghana, a professional diploma in marketing from CIM UK, plus other professional qualifications. Kofi Ofosu-Nkansah is our second panelist. Welcome aboard. Right, and the third person joining us this afternoon is Mame Awinado Kanyirige. Now, she is a policy advisor for trade and economic affairs at the Netherlands Embassy here in Ghana. Her current work portfolio covers trade, macroeconomic affairs, and private sector development. Moreover, her area of expertise covers a wide expanse, such as in international trade law, international private commercial transaction laws, international law of the sea, international relations, and third world politics. Like I said, they all wear many hats. She has also previously worked as a training and business development consultant with MPT Ghana, and she was also a partner at Blackbridge Consulting Group Limited. It's an international consulting firm, and she's the director of operations for SACAM Savannah. Mame has been a guest lecturer at the Center for Comparative Law in Africa, and a resource personnel for topics on trade and economics at BBC Africa and other renowned media platforms. She additionally has experience as project manager for an international tech company in Accra, and so on and so forth. Welcome aboard, Mame Awinado. Ladies and gentlemen, these are your panelists, and I gave you the background so you understand that they have vast experience to speak to the issue. And the whole purpose of this session is to break down everything we've heard so far. So I'll start with you, Mame. Could you please briefly tell us how you got launched into entrepreneurship and some of the challenges that you had to navigate before now you are the superwoman on this panel sharing your experience with us?
Thank you so much. Good morning, afternoon, everyone. So pretty much if you talk about being launched, I think that every single day we get to see entrepreneurial dynamics around us, but I think one of the things that has also helped me have a better understanding of this space has been with my current role. So I work on a project, it's called Orange Corners, and with that role, the Netherlands funds entrepreneurs to be able to accelerate their businesses. But one of the interesting things that has stood out to me through our discussions today, and I think maybe I will try to highlight a bit, and what I'm going to say is that we're talking about entrepreneurships, forget about the entrepreneur, that the person who is behind the business or the model or what we are speaking of. And I think that one of the big things that we don't have to miss here today is that you don't start a business without identifying a person. And I think that profit is great, but profit should not be the number one thing you start from. We start from identifying problems. And that is why if you can see the problem around you. So when you see problems in Ghana, it is not the time to run away. It's actually a call for solutions. And that's what entrepreneurs do. And so I think that one of the big things that we want to highlight today is that even though we talk about entrepreneurship, we must look at the entrepreneur, number one. And number two, also, the idea of what it means to even buy what is made here. Because people are producing every day, but if you have consumers or people who want to purchase things that are not Ghanaian made, who are you going to sell to? So I think one of the big things I should also talk about is the fact that beyond even bringing out services and products, are we willing to support what is made here in Ghana? Because only Ghanaians, or only the people in this room, we are the only ones who can put premium on what is Ghanaian. And so I'll just start with that as we continue, but let's just begin to think a bit more beyond entrepreneurship and just starting a business, but who is behind all of that? Thank you.
Okay, my takeaway is that if you're an entrepreneur, it means you're a problem solver. So when you see a problem, don't run away, run towards it. For all you know, that's where you make your millions. Kofi Ofosu, tell us briefly how you also got launched into entrepreneurship, and now you actually head the National Entrepreneurship and Innovation Program. Yes. Tell us a bit about that.
All right. Good afternoon to you all. And my boss is here, the Minister of Finance, the Deputy Minister of Finance. I salute. I will come from the government perspective and the support we provide entrepreneurs and early stage businesses, startups and SMEs. This government has made a conscious effort to roll out a lot of interventions to nurture our young people in entrepreneurship. It's been very deliberate. To the extent that we even had some entrepreneurship themes in our budget, in some of our financial years. So in 2019 also, we had building an entrepreneurial nation, fiscal consolidation, and job creation as a budget theme, which means the government saw the need to drive entrepreneurship, to be able to create jobs, and also to help with our fiscal issues, to close any fiscal gaps we have. So right from the Development Bank Ghana, and the Minister of State mentioned some of these interventions through Exim Bank to NEIP, GEA. There has been a tiered approach towards providing support for the private sector. So whereas the DBGs, the Exims, and the other universal banks like ADB through 1D, 1F provide the support, the grants, the loans, and special strategic packages for industry, the lower tier entrepreneurship support agencies like Ghana Enterprises Agency, National Entrepreneurship Innovation Program, MASLOC, and others also provide support for those in the lower tiers. And if you look at the stars, it's interesting. GDP, 70% of our gross domestic product is controlled startups and SMEs. You know, they provide 80% of the jobs, 86% of the jobs, over 96%, over 90% of all enterprises are either startups or SMEs. So it is a very, very important sector, which is why any serious government should have deliberate programs to drive growth in these sectors, because that is the mainstay of our economy. And without these interventions, there won't be a Ghanaian economy, because if you have 70% of the sector, you know, in that space, then it tells you how important it is. So the government, the economy is not driven by the big services sectors like the telcos and the banking and the rest. It is being driven by the SME and the startup ecosystem. And government will continue to provide the support. As the minister said, 8.2 billion SME growth opportunity program launched recently. We've had Youth Start, which is the biggest youth entrepreneurship intervention yet, expected to create millions of jobs for the youth. We are done with the first phase. We dispersed about 100 million cedis. The second phase is ongoing. The World Bank is also helping us with another $150 million for the next phase. Ghana Economic Transformation Project, a lot of grants, youth grants, SME, women-led, persons with disability, and hundreds of people are getting grants. So this is an overview of what government is doing in the entrepreneurship space to provide the needed support for startups and early-stage businesses.
We're hoping to get a bit more personal, or some of your personal experiences in the entrepreneurship field, but I'll circle back to you after I speak to Sheila. So Mami is saying that if you see a problem, run towards it and try and find ways, innovative ways to fix those problems, and that's the entrepreneurial mindset. I remember I had an interview with Dr. Stephen Amwa where he said the whole aim of this is to reset the mindsets of young people, to change their mindset so that they're not waiting around for manna to fall from heaven, but take the initiative and go out there and find something to do so that together we are all propelling the development agenda. So is that what you did? Did you run toward a problem?
Thank you very much. I'm very happy to see a lot of young people here today, and to just share what I know, what I've learned along the way, and also listening in to learn more. Well, like Mami said, yes, being an entrepreneur means solving a problem that people are willing to pay for. So obviously, I think as we sit here, there's so many problems that we can all think about. Inconveniences in our own personal lives and in the lives of others that we are familiar with. And to be able to find a solution. Think about it. If you have a problem that somebody found a solution for you and they're charging you money for it, and the problem was, a challenge enough for you, I'm sure you'd pay for it. So that is essentially what Mami is saying, that if you're an entrepreneur, for you, every problem is an opportunity where you can offer your services or you can sell goods to solve or resolve that issue. On a more personal note, I'd like to say that I am an entrepreneur, and I've also worked in private sector policy, and then empowering women and girls. And out of all of that, what I have learned is that there are certain issues that are very pertinent to the entrepreneur's journey. I think I'd like to sort of circle in on those as well. When Dr. Adebanji was giving her presentation, at the end of it all, she mentioned a few of these challenges. They're not peculiar. She said she had a rather small sample size, but the honest truth is that they are not peculiar to them. These challenges affect almost every entrepreneur, whether it's access to funding, whether it's training, having knowledge of the products and services you're offering, and how to scale up, getting more information, managerial, learning to, you could be an entrepreneur, but you may not be a manager. But you may not be in a position to actually hire somebody to do the management work for you. So you have to learn that as well. That is also a challenge that you have to try to overcome. So these are some of the issues. And Kofi here also mentioned a lot of the things that government is doing to help entrepreneurs. I know you wanted something more personal from him. But the truth of the matter is, when you're an entrepreneur, which I know, when you're an entrepreneur in a startup, one of the key things or problems or challenges that you face is help, finding money. So at least at the NEIP, they offer these services, small grants, small loans, some training, business startups, and that is a major, major boost for you, when you're in business or when you start doing your own work. So I'd like to commend the work that they do and all the help that is available. And also going back to what one of our speakers said, sometimes I think also that there's a disconnect between academia, for instance, and the people who are actually on the ground doing the work. So academia may have access to data collection and all of that. I don't know how many of us here without training, simple entrepreneurs on the road can go around collecting data or even know where to go and look for that data. So that kind of bridge, there must be a bridge somewhere where we know where to look for the information
and that's
and
where
how
they
to
come
use
in.
it. Yes.
All right. Now, when we talk about entrepreneurship, sometimes most people mistake it for buying and selling or exchange of goods and services. How do you apply the entrepreneur mindset even if you are in employment? That's the question we want to explore. And I'll start with you, Sheila, because you just ended.
You see, in every workplace, anything at all that you do, even in your own house, in your own life, you realize that there are things that you could do better. There's always that opportunity. There's always a gap, a loophole, something that you can do better. And that is where you can become an entrepreneur. I think there's a term for it, intrapreneur or something. Instead of the E, it's an I, when you're employed by somebody. By trying to create solutions for your employer. And you know what? You may think, for those who are employed, you may think you're working for whoever's employed you or giving them extra for whatever they are paying you. But really, what that does is that it builds your own capacity and perhaps even opens your mind to other things that you can do beyond that to create value for yourself. So that is how you figure out what you can do even when you are employed and you want to help the organization you're with further, is to find what the challenges are and what solutions you can think up creatively to resolve those challenges.
All right, thank you, Sheila. Kofi, so do you provide support for social entrepreneurs as well? I mean, those who are trying to solve social problems, not necessarily make money out of it. Is there support for them as well?
Yeah, we've provided support for some social entrepreneurs. For instance, we did a hubs acceleration program, and some of the hubs were, focused on social interventions. They are not 100% profits oriented. Some are hybrid in nature. So we do all that. But fundamentally, what we do look out for, and this appeared in one of the definitions, your startup or business must be commercially viable, because we are creating businesses which want to become future unicorns, businesses which can scale and become big to employ more people, because the primary aim of all this entrepreneurship intervention is job creation. Even though the social focused ones can also create some employment opportunities. Of course, startups which are focused on making profits are well placed to expand and create more jobs to be able to employ others. And on your question on whether people can add alternative businesses to supplement their incomes, sometimes the work you do will even give you leads to start businesses in certain industries and areas. The gentleman who did the digital addressing system was my mate at K University, Computer Science. He got his vast and digital ideas from MTN because we both used to work there. And then that is what he launched commercially to become a tech, entrepreneur in the ecosystem. And there are a lot of examples with people who have worked in departments and they've picked ideas. Another mate of mine was at Nestle as an IT person providing IT support, and then he moved to the logistics procurement department. He saw opportunity there, and now he's one of the leading suppliers of furniture, and he's a rich man because he changed from the IT to that field. So the environment you are in, as Sheila said, you identify opportunities and you identify loopholes. And sometimes too, you don't need to even understand the space. You only need to identify the opportunity. I have a friend who identified an opportunity in fashion he's never sold before. He's not a tailor or a dressmaker, but he identified a gap and he has recruited talented fashion designers, and they sew for him and he sells them and he's making money and he's paying the dressmakers. So all these are models that we can pick and make money from. Yeah.
Mami.
Then you asked earlier about experiences. I think when it comes to entrepreneurship, the most important factor is the passion you have for the area you are pursuing. If it is agri business, don't just enter because you've seen somebody making money from agri. Maybe you don't like going into vegetations and farms, so you don't have to go into agri business. It should be something you are passionate about, because entrepreneurship is very challenging. Once you are interested in it, even though the challenges will come, you scale through them, you keep on trying, because entrepreneurship is about risk-taking, trying, failing, getting up again, and trying again. All the successful entrepreneurs will tell you they failed a number of times, but in the end, those who are counted are those who succeed. So you should be very passionate about the space you want to undertake your entrepreneurship business in. Yeah.
Mami, do you agree? Is that what keeps you going? I mean, if you listen to a lot of entrepreneurs, they tell you that starting is not the most difficult part. It's easy to identify something and just plunge yourself into it. But going forward, it gets cumbersome, it gets difficult because you encounter a lot of challenges. It's passion, that driving force that you need to sustain that venture that you ventured into. What do you say, Mami?
Yeah, I do agree. And I was going to say, I want to ask a quick question. How many of us here know about Airbnb? Airbnb. Anybody here know about it? I know you're tired, but if you do know, can you raise your hand? If you don't know, can you raise your hand? Okay, so Airbnb was supposed to be this alternative to the usual hotel stay dynamic, okay? There's a story behind it. So a lot of people now, it's not everybody who travels and stays in a hotel. People do Airbnb. So it's like a short rental, short stay. I'm telling this story because I want to touch on something here. So the Airbnb story is actually interesting because the founder and owner, who is a millionaire now, didn't start off with that idea. In fact, he said, look, he wasn't getting a job. He's traveling to another state, San Francisco, to go and see if he can find something to do while he's studying. He moves there, starts living with a friend, and they realize that they were constantly having conferences in the region. And people will come and hotel prices will be so high. So people will be looking, wouldn't even mind, oh, can I pitch in someone's apartment? I'll pay you this. Can I pitch here? I'll pay you this. So they said, wait, guess what? We have an apartment. And what do we have? We also have an air mattress. Let us blow air into it and then maybe allow people to stay with us shortly, take a little money. That was the beginning of Airbnb. The thing grew and became something else. And there were a group of friends who were doing this. So number one, you don't need money to start. You need money to grow. Because if you just start, sometimes it's not we get so stuck with, I need some huge amount of money. What do you have in your hands? You know, earlier we had someone from the clergy sharing, right? Look at the story of the 5 loaves and 2 fish. What do you have in your hands? Start small. Because sometimes investors, because the work I have done and I've been exposed to is that they want to see what you're already doing. Not that you are sitting there waiting for someone to give you money. And number 2, there's failure, but there's something called joint venture or what we call collaboration. You don't have to go alone. Because when you share the load with someone, you are sharing the risk. What we have seen so much now in Ghana is that there are so many entrepreneurs because they want to be called what? CEO. You know, some of the work I do, you meet an entrepreneur with 3 pigs. He doesn't pay anyone. He says he's an MD. Who are you managing and who are you directing? And you have only 3 pigs as the business. I don't know if you understand what I'm trying to say. So sometimes there's an obsession to be owner, have a business card. You attend an event, they'll ask you, hey, I'm CEO of this. No profit, no money, right? But let's say you are good at sewing and you have a friend who is good at designing. Why don't you come together? Because sometimes you may go fast alone, but you go further together. So I think that looking at even absorbing shocks and failures, while you are in school now, find someone who is doing something that you think is interesting. Come together. Don't wait. And number 2, don't wait for money to start. Because there are investors who are there, but they want to see that you are driven. You are already starting to do something small. And then they partner with you. So with the entrepreneurship, and the last thing I want to say is your mind, the mindset. Because you can start a business, but the premium you put on yourself, you transfer to the business you have. Today, people will start a business and they are selling bread. They'll say, yeah, that's how people like it. No, nothing innovative. The same jollof you've been eating, the caterers, the same wache. Nobody is coming out with anything new. But you know why? Because the premium is not on the wache or the jollof. The premium is on you. What value have you put on yourself? Because if you put value on yourself as a Ghanaian, that you are the one who produces value, it will translate into your business. So I just want to end with that. As we talk about entrepreneurship, ask yourself first, you're not ordinary. There's value in you. The solution in Dubai was never, they were in a desert. And today everybody wants to go to Dubai. Am I lying? And Dubai was never like Ghana. Today we all run away from Ghana to go where? To Dubai for holidays. But it was just desert land before. That means that the answer was never the Dubai. It was the people. That means the answer for entrepreneurship is never the money. It's you. It's your mindset. So that's what I would just say.
I thought you'd clap for that. Yeah. Very passionate. Thank you so much, Mami. And Sheila, please help us paint the picture accurately. She just said that it's not about you, it's about your mindset. And we're saying that entrepreneurship drives economic growth. So I know all of us here want Ghana to be better for us. How exactly does me, an individual, Kwame, Esi, sitting among us, students, workers in employment, how can they do one thing, attach the entrepreneurial mindset, which will ricochet into plunging Ghana or propelling Ghana in terms of our development agenda? Help us paint that picture.
Well, I think, like you said, entrepreneurship, there is no doubt at all that entrepreneurship drives growth. And Kofi also just gave us the stats that about 70% of businesses, are MSMEs. These are small businesses in Ghana. That's what's employing people, creating the wealth, all the tax that GRA needs to collect. These are the people out there working hard to build this nation. So there's no doubt that basis has been laid. How do we also contribute? How do we become excellent at it? I think it's just practice. Keep going, keep going, keep going. You may have one small dream today of a problem that you've seen somewhere that you want to offer a solution to. Mami talked about Airbnb. There are countless, I don't know how many of you go on Instagram to buy things, to check out what's happening. Or people even using things like TikTok to sort of like promote their music or the arts. West African music has become so popular around the globe thanks to TikTok and other apps like that. So there are definitely opportunities everywhere. But I think the key takeaway is to be excellent at what you do. And how do you become excellent? Is by practicing, by failing, by learning from your failures. And it's also very important to watch what other people are doing. See how they're doing it right and trying to learn from them what they're doing and asking questions. And I just like to say this. I think in our generation, there's so many, or currently now, in our context, there's so much of 2 ways to do this, 50 ways to get here. A long time ago, a wise man told me, it doesn't work for everybody. 50 ways that work for Kofi will likely not work for Sheila, or Mami. She would have to look at what Kofi did and apply it to her own context and her own situation and then and move on from there. So I think for us to be good entrepreneurs and to profit from the work that we do, we must show excellence and we must apply ourselves to the hard work and the learning that comes with being an entrepreneur. It is not, trust me, if once you start, the entrepreneurs say we can ask them, the business people, we can ask them. I don't think it is all that glossy CEO, MD, and so on and so forth. It's a lot of hard work. And nowadays, you see the rich guys, they don't even dress flashy. You've noticed that, have you noticed? They'll just be in one t-shirt, one Lacoste, and jeans, and perhaps it's even just the one, I'm just kidding. But I'm just saying that it's a lot of hard work. So perhaps when they wake up in the morning, they don't get time to apply makeup on their faces like I have done here. So it must be daunting. So we have to keep that at the back of our mind and then move forward. But I just like to add this. I think, I don't know how much time we have, and this is a platform that is useful to do some advocacy on. I think there are lots of challenges that entrepreneurs face, And I always like to come from the point of view of female entrepreneurs and young people. There are real challenges out there, like accessing funds. So we are grateful for all the mechanisms and the programs and the initiatives that the government has out there. But we, like Oliver Twist, we'll always ask for more. We'll always ask for more because there's so many of us, and we are the driving force of this economy. So we really need more support where it can be given. And it's also important about management, giving people the skills they need to succeed. Once they start, it's very important that we help them succeed.
Thank you so much, Sheila. And this is my last question because we have just about 9 minutes to go. Kofi, in this day of technological advancement, let's talk about the fourth industrial revolution. How can wannabe entrepreneurs or people all of us here who've heard about entrepreneurship today, how can we position ourselves in this day and age to actually use technology or apply what's happening with the fourth